Hey guys, Dr. Rodman here. Today we're going to talk about 4 dangers of side lying when you're sleeping. Now, there's really 3 ways that I know we can sleep, right? We can sleep face down, which is the worst way because our head is turned all night. It's really bad for the neck and really jam up the neck. So that's out. So the second best is side lying. The best way, I believe, is on your back with your knees bent and a little pillow underneath your knees at about 30 degrees to take pressure off your back. But let's talk about some things you need to be careful of if you're a side-lying sleeper. So number 1, with your pillow, you want to make sure that your head is in a neutral position, meaning that when you're sleeping, it's not too far tilted down or tilted up like this. I'd say this is kind of like sleeping on the side of a mountain, as if your head was just laying on it like that. Now it's really bad because if I do that all night, I'm jamming up the cervical facet joints. I'm also really stretching this side of my neck all night. So if that's something that you do, you have too many pillows or you have no pillow and your head's flat, that's something to be careful of. Number 2, what you want to watch out for is the shoulder. So laying directly on that shoulder joint can really damage that shoulder joint if you're kind of sleeping like this, where the force is going right through the shoulder. So you want to actually try to sleep more on the back side of that shoulder. Maybe you can even hold a pillow, something like that, to take stress off the shoulder joint. One bad thing about that is it does round us forward, and a lot of us are a little bit rounded forward already from just gravity and life and being on the computer, things like that. So that's one thing to be careful of, is compression directly on that shoulder joint. Number 3, we want to think about our lower back. Now for me, you can kind of take a look and see I got a little bit of a hip height difference, and this is a cupping mark, not a hickey. But anyways, if you see, my left hip is a little bit higher, so that means that my rib and my pelvis is a little closer together on this side. So if I sleep on my right side all night, it's actually going to jam this side up more. So for me, whichever side has the shorter distance from your pelvis to the bottom of your rib cage is the side that you want to sleep on, because what that'll do is actually lengthen that side for me all night. So I'd rather be lengthened and stretch this tight side than to have it pushed further even worse. So go in front of a mirror, lift up your shirt, take your shirt off if you're at home by yourself, take a look at your hip height, see which one is higher and has a closer distance to your rib. That's the side you actually want to sleep on, because it's going to stretch that and not make it really tight when you wake up in the morning. And the last thing that you need to be careful of is you want to sleep with your knees bent a little bit, but you don't want to be at 90 degrees where you're here. Because what am I doing right here? This is basically the same thing as sitting. Sitting is one of those things that we really try to make people aware of is a horrible position to be in for a very long period of time. Really tightens up our hips. And most of us spend way too much time sitting between driving and work, being on the couch, whatnot, and then we're going to go and do it for 8 hours when we're sleeping. So really, half of our day or more is spent with this hip flexion position. So the best thing you could do is, if you're a side liar, is not really sleep straight, because that might be a little uncomfortable, but you can get maybe about 30 degrees of hip flexion. But you just want to avoid that fetal position of curling up into a ball, which I know is nice on a cozy night, watch some Netflix, have some wine, but really bad for the back and the hips. So those are my 4 things to be careful of when you're side lying. But if you're a side liar, definitely the way to go. Face down sleeper, gotta change that up.